When a 2-bit crook unlocks the secret to the Cape Crusader's secret identity, will he become the most dangerous man in Gotham? And how will this impact Amanda Waller's new war against the superpowered community of the DC Universe? Well, let's hop into the pages of Batman issue number 150 and find out together, shall we? So then, as the comic opens up, we're actually reintroduced to Teddy. Don't remember Teddy? Well, you should. He was one of the 2-bit henchmen who Catwoman attempted to turn into a new modern-day guild of thieves. He didn't really accomplish much during his time as a cat burglar, though he did end up robbing one particular brownstone wherein he discovered Bruce Wayne and Batman are actually the same person. Now, this bombshell information is enough to absolutely change this guy's life, but he's not sure what he should do with it, and he's been sweating over the whole thing ever since he found it out. The bartender of Flunkies, the #1 meeting ground for Gotham's henchmen scene, tells him that he should probably let sleeping dogs lie on this one. That he doesn't want to mess with Batman, that he doesn't even think Batman is particularly human. In fact, he remembers a time not too long ago when Batman passed out in front of the bar, only to jump to attention and savagely beat up a bunch of patrons for even daring to touch his mask. Teddy's greed is only further stoked by another bar patron who says that he henches for some of the biggest, most heaviest players within Gotham City, and for a 10% cut, he'll be more than happy to make Teddy some proper recommendations. After that, they have some celebratory drinks, and Teddy ends up passing out, waking up the next morning in the apartment of his estranged ex-wife. Apparently, their son has actually moved on off to college and never even told his criminal father where he was going. Teddy is hurt, but he says that this time is different, that he has a plan, that he's got a big score coming down the pipeline, and that it's gonna change everyone's lives. His wife doesn't want to hear it, though, saying that Teddy is always a man with a plan who never actually gets rich quick in any of his get-rich-quick schemes, and that things probably would have been a lot easier if he stopped working for Halloween-costumed crazy people and just got a regular-ass job. Feeling like a loser in front of his ex naturally only spurs Teddy on more to try and make a big cash deal for sharing Batman's true identity, and the first potential buyer is revealed to be none other than Two-Face, Harvey Dent. Only here's the surprising thing: Two-Face claims to actually understand Batman better than most people. He knows what it's like to struggle with duality, to be two different people at one time, and Two-Face actively fears that if Batman is cut off from one of his personas and forced to only be the Dark Knight 24/7, that would be bad for everyone. And I mean, thematically, this actually does a good job too, tying back into the whole Batman of Zur-En-Awe thing, as that was basically Batman minus an actual civilian alter ego who only focused on fighting crime. And I mean, we all saw how bad that went, right? In fact, Two-Face thinks that the only way that he can stop this from coming to pass is if he kills Teddy. And he probably would have done it too if Harvey Dent didn't step on in and actively stop his darker half from pulling the trigger. Well, that business transaction might have been one giant bust, but Teddy and his would-be partner are still ready to sell the secret, maybe to someone a little less crazy than Two-Face. Though it would seem that Teddy has already become something of a celebrity, shooting his mouth off about this secret information that could make kings out of anyone who knows it, and because of that, Batman is actively stalking them from the sky. Teddy and company's next port of call is the Iceberg Lounge, where they've arranged a meeting with the Penguin twins. They certainly have a cool mill on hand and would love to know Batman's true identity. But before they can actually end up wiring the cash, the Iceberg Lounge ends up coming under attack. It's actually one of the Penguin twins' chief henchmen who recognizes Teddy from working with Firefly back in their younger days. This guy's clearly a lot smarter than Teddy and actually has managed to move up in the world. He says that he really shouldn't give this information to the Penguin twins because once he does, there's nothing stopping them from killing Ted, and I mean, why shouldn't they? A secret like this is only good when a small number of people know it. It's after that a massive explosion ends up knocking Teddy out, and when he comes to, he's been taken in by a familiar group of henchmen. If you recall, during the events of Gotham War, these guys had actually broken away from their supervillain bosses, but in doing so also stole some of their equipment and attempted to strike out on their own as more established villains. Obviously that didn't work, but they think Teddy and his secret might be exactly what they need to put them on easy street. After all, if they start carrying Teddy around like a little mascot, then there's a good chance Batman won't mess with them out of fear of his secret being revealed. Teddy ends up getting shanghaied and brought along for an impromptu bank robbery. The bad guys think they can take this place for 10 mil easily, though to their shock and horror, by the time they get there, Batman's already standing in the bank waiting for them. A fight ensues, and all of the henchmen end up getting the crap royally kicked out of them. When Teddy Teddy ends up coming to, he's shocked to discover that he's at Gotham University in the dorm room of his estranged son. Needless to say, father and son certainly have a lot to catch up on. Teddy is hurt that his son didn't tell him he was leaving, and his son unloads on him for a lifetime of being a crappy parent. The kid says that when he was younger, he thought his dad was the coolest person in the world. He went out at all hours of the day and night, made his own rules, came back with fistfuls of cash, and told amazing stories of getting into scrapes with superheroes. Unfortunately, as this kid got older, he realized what an absolute piece of crap his dad was, showing up drunk, fighting with his mother, and in turn making him into a piece of crap too, who would worship and take his father's side. Teddy thinks he has quite the comeback by saying that his son is no different than him. After all, how the hell did he get such a cushy dorm room at the University of Gotham when he's, well, his kid? And wouldn't you know it, the answer to that is actually one hell of the story. It seems that the son had actively attempted to follow into Teddy's footsteps. He went to flunkies and got himself a job as a henchman for the Scarecrow. It was during his first night on the job he ended up coming face to face with Batman. Crane unleashed a brand new version of the fear toxin, and he didn't exactly care whether or not his henchmen inhaled it or not. The kid freaked the hell out, and he probably wouldn't have made it were it not for the actual intervention of Batman, who helped him up, dusted him off, and then went a step further by actually listening to his problems. You see, Batman knew full well who this kid was, who his family was, and he actually wanted to know how he could help him, how he could steer him away from the sins of his father. He talked him into applying for college for a business course and then actively gave him a scholarship too. Batman didn't ask for anything in return either. The only thing he asked him was to be better, and honestly, I kinda love this snapshot of Batman here, not only fighting crime, but actively trying to make the world a little bit better through kindness and compassion, a side of Batman that you don't often see, and that you especially didn't see during that Gotham War story. As Teddy leaves his son's dorm, he ends up coming face to face with Bruce Wayne. At first, Teddy thinks he's going to be mad, but he ends up being surprised when Bruce extends to him the same offer he made to his son: go to another city, start another life, and be better. Because even if you are a multi-time crook, even if you are a late-in-life loser, there's still time to begin again. To become the man your son always wanted you to be, and maybe after a couple years after the heat's died down, you can even come back and see him again. Now that's a pretty sweet story, right? Though you're all probably wondering to yourself, what did any of this have to do with absolute power? Well, nothing. It's actually the backup story that has everything to do with absolute power. We're treated to an internal monologue from Bruce saying that when he turned 18 and officially gained control of the Wayne family fortune, the first thing he bought was actually the company that manufactured the gun that Joe Chill used to murder his parents. Bruce tore it down brick by brick and gave all the employees new jobs at Wayne Enterprises. Bruce says that that gun haunted him for years, but now he has a brand new gun, a brand new weapon that he forged out there ruining lives. He's of course talking about the failsafe robot that was not only captured and co-opted by Amanda Waller and her brand new Task Force 7, but also the Amazo robots that the Batman of Zur-En-Ah had created. Now these mechanical nightmares are roaming the globe and depowering superheroes. Batman and the others are doing everything they can to mount a resistance, and right now Bruce has come to Titan's Tower in hopes of trying to find someone who can help them track Waller down. Of course, he's talking about Victor Stone's Cyborg, who is sadly dealing with his own problems right now, infected by a virus uploaded by Waller herself in an attempt to take Cyborg off the field. Vic has precious little time left, but he has managed to glean two very important pieces of information. One, Waller and her brand new super prison are on the island nation of Gamora, and two, these new power-stealing Amazo robots are being powered by a mother box, an incredibly rare piece of new god technology, the type of which you just don't mess with willy-nilly. It's at that very moment Batman and Cyborg end up coming under attack by the Wonder Woman-themed Amazo, which I believe is codenamed Paradise Lost, which is actually a very fun little reference. Bruce does everything in his power to fight this thing off, but it's just no good. It's too powerful, and poor Cyborg ends up getting trussed up and taken away. Batman, however, does vow to make the most of the information that Cyborg gathered. Now that he knows the Amazo robots have a power source, he's going to go out of his way to try and steal it. He just might need a little bit of help from one of his favorite professional thieves. And, you know, maybe him and Catwoman can rekindle their romance while they're at it, too. And so that was Batman issue number 150, everybody, and I gotta say, I really ended up loving this story. I feel like we don't get Batman stories like this anymore. You know, when everything needs to feel like the biggest story leading up to the biggest event with the biggest ramifications. We never get just special one-and-done little mood pieces. pieces anymore. More than anything, too, this story feels like Chip Zdarsky trying to address some of the shortcomings of the Gotham War crossover, mainly that Batman just seemed so cruel and callous even when he wasn't being controlled by Zernaw. This story does very important work showing that while Batman is a vigilante, while he can occasionally be grim, he is a superhero because of his kindness, because of his compassion, and how it ends up manifesting in the most unexpected little ways. Batman might fight the same henchmen over and over again, he might not be able to redeem every Teddy out there, but he does try and stop the next generation of henchmen from feeling that they need to do that kind of work. The Absolute Power tie-in is pretty strong too. I like this idea of comparing the failsafe robot to Batman's own gun, a symbol of death and destruction that he put out into the world and something that he is desperately going to need to try and reclaim. And it's certainly something I hope we see them play with more as we continue on through the rest of Absolute Power. Overall, though, I would actually give this issue a very positive 9 out of 10. This is probably the best one and done I've read all year. And if it's any indication of where Zdarsky is going to be taking the Batman book in the future, I think we are in some very, very good hands.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again, thanking you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out my Amazon link down in the description. Yes, that's right, the Cape Joel channel officially has its own Amazon storefront now. You can pick up a comic or anything else for that matter, and if you did, you'd really be helping me in the channel. So with that out of the way everyone, I will see you again next time. Bye-bye.